Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Friday, April 14th, 2023, about 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a reverse aging health call tonight with special guest Michael Thomas to discuss the new discoveries as far as this CV, CP, and superbug vials for the light system. Trusting the energy of fear is a decision that each of us are sooner or later either have made or will make in the near future. And the first action towards fearlessness begins with taking a baby step into trusting the energy of fear. This trusting energy comes from a spiritually advanced understanding that we live in a divine, benevolent, conscious universe that never makes a mistake and has no room for coincidences. As mistakes actually and coincidences really don't exist. Our society developed those words. Coincidences are literally that's a word to explain things away that you don't understand. Mistakes aren't really mistakes, they're experiences. You know, it's like a lot of people will say, I made a mistake. And you turn around and say, you just had an experience. There's always this on this planet to make you feel bad, right? To make you feel guilty. And quite frankly, it's all crap. Now, this all-intelligent, life-giving universe is always on our side and knows exactly what ingredients are needed for your enlightenment. By accepting this paradigm into every cell in your body, you can start to understand how fear is your greatest teacher and best friend. By knowing the loving universe is always working in your favor, we can relax more, take the risk to snuggle up to our fear, and get a closer look underneath it just to see what it truly is and why it is actually there. You imagine, let's just say that all the American people were fearless, right? They understand what fear is. They understand that it can be one of their best friends. And so they're not controlled by it. What do you think would happen on this planet? What do you think would happen in this country? In becoming truly fearless, you'll need to develop the daily practice of deep, authentic curiosity with yourself. You'll need to explore why you are afraid of whatever you are afraid of. What is this special avoidance that is hooked deep into your gut and heart really all about? It is only through a childlike curiosity and true heartfelt inquiry that we can turn our worries into wonders and catch a glimpse of what it actually is that we are running from. Looking inside, behind or underneath your fear, for the first time, may seem life-threatening, or feel as if you're about to enter a secret cellar door that's been hidden for hundreds of years in the back of your great-grandparents' first home. This is the right place to start. Somewhere that feels very familiarly frightening and instantly makes you want to run and hide. Be aware. The mind is a genius at avoiding what it needs to confront. We have all sorts of strategies and tricks at getting distracted from peering into places which make us uncomfortable. We always infinitely patient and insanely persistent whenever you approach your fear. Be always infinitely patient and insanely persistent when you approach your fear. Perhaps you're a bit analytical and wondering, how does one actually look underneath a fearful feeling? Thought or scary image that is stuck in the mind? Well, you're going to need an extra dose of childlike imagination for this journey. Roll back the clock a few years and recall how you played all day long. Your creativity and imagination never ended all day long. Perhaps you were into playing fantasy games, like saving the innocent princess from the kingdom's fire-breathing dragon. You had the power to imagine anything and everything, and you still have that power today. We all do. You might have even imagined that you became a grown-up adult person who lost touch with their childish power of imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited, while imagination encircles the world, the universe, and beyond. Albert Einstein. Maybe when you were young, you had an imaginary friend who talked to you all the time, yet nobody else could hear or see them. Or perhaps you were a weirder child and wondered what a banana would say if it could speak, or how the sunset colors would taste if you could lick them. Whatever fantasies or creative games you played back then, you are still playing them on some level today. They are just more adult-like. Serious games, adult-like serious games that you're playing on the inside. Your mind is still making up all sorts of stories about everything and everyone, including yourself. Your imagination is creating everything in your life. It is responsible for creating every fear that you have. Since it has created all of your fears, it also has the power to stop creating them and invent something totally brand new. Your imagination is always on, always forming new movies inside. You still have the amazing power of imagination working every day inside you. Ordinary versions of reality that you've created, and discover a place inside you where anything is possible. Our imagination is extremely powerful. Just notice what happens inside your mouth when you imagine biting into a super spicy jalapeno taco covered in hot sauce. Salivary glands start firing up as the body reacts to whatever the mind sees inside. When you get hooked in imaging something you don't want to see, cannot accept, cannot understand or relax with, after a few repetitions, fearful chemical can instantly come inside your brain whenever you have that same thought pattern again. So I invite you to realize right now that your mind is responsible for creating all of your fears. Every terrifying, heart-beating, panic-driven, life-freezing sensation you have ever had came completely from your imagination. The trust is your mind making a movie all the time. It seems very real, yet it is still just a movie inside the screen of your mind. That which is real is what never changes. The constant stream of pure white light awareness in the back of the cinema show. This light is what's projecting all the images you're seeing on the screen. Now, if and when you want to become authentically fearless, you must choose to take full responsibility for your inner movie show and get in touch with what your deepest, darkest, fearful movie truly is. This is not just about getting over the Nightmare on Elm Street horror movie, yet dealing with the real fears which are blocking you from creating the life that you want to live. This fearless commitment to yourself is what you will stop. It's what that you will stop avoiding fear for the next 21 days of your life, and instead explore it with a childlike curiosity. It is the only way that we are going to master the mind, instead of it mastering you. Now, perhaps you're afraid of intimacy, giving public speeches, great heights, insects, dogs, huge crowds, or light, tight elevator spaces. Take a few minutes right now and write out an extensive list of everything, or later, everything that makes you cringe and want to run, scream, or hide. Include everything you can think of until you are empty. Take as much time as you need in making your fear list. It could be one of the most liberating things you will ever do this year. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. Ambrose Redmond. If you completed this list, this fear list, take your top fear and imagine the solution to releasing this one fear is inside that old dark cellar hidden in the backyard of your great-grandparents' first home. Use your imagination. You're actually opening the creaking, dusting, dark cellar door right now and seeing the long, dark tunnel inside it. You have no clue how long this dark tunnel is or when you'll reach the end. Your inner child is curious, though. And you step inside and start walking down the long passageway that happens to contain the most amazing secret treasures that you could possibly imagine. You feel courageous, though, and willing to trust in the experience of exploring your fear. No matter how frozen you may feel inside, always remember that approaching your fear is a very magical and empowering thing to do. Every fear is created from your imagination, and you are always in charge of what happens. So just relax. Enjoy the scary ride. You may want to rely on your inner light to guide you through the darkness and trust in the fear exploration process. This is why a deep curiosity is needed to constantly shift you into excitement mode. The most amazing treasures in this life are hidden in the last place we would think to look. As you reach the very end of your dark passageway, you see someone is sitting there meditating in front of a white candle. An odd sensation of trust comes over your body. As you feel this person is a very old familiar friend you once knew, you look into their eyes and you see how extremely happy they are to meet you again. You know in your heart that this old friend is the wildest, craziest, fearless person you have ever known. This person is your new fearless friend, and they are here to guide you into fearlessness. Your fearless friend has never ever felt any fear about the thing or situation that you are afraid of. They are actually deeply in love with whatever it is you are afraid of. And they are actually looking forward to doing that thing which you fear. Your fearless friend seems to have a spiritual experience doing the thing you fear. Notice the tremendous joy, awe, and pleasure they have on their face just thinking about doing what you fear. You both are now back in your own cozy home, and you're getting to know each other more personally, sitting down with your friend on the couch. Listen to their creative story about why they love doing the thing you fear. You are becoming the best of friends. This person loves hanging out with you and helping you to overcome your fear. Listen to all the fun, wild, and crazy stories they have. Notice how scary, exciting, and liberating it is for you to hang out with your new friend, your new fearless friend. Explore how they think, how they feel about this life, and what their average day is like. Feel how they are naturally relaxed and at peace with whatever it is that you fear. We are what we pretend to be. So we must be careful about what we pretend to be. Kurt Vonnegut. We are what we pretend to be. So we must be very careful about what we pretend to be. Spend lots of deep quality time interviewing your new friend. Practice stepping into their body, feeling what it's like to be totally fearless. How do they feel getting out of bed each morning? What is their attitude about life and death? What does a fearless heart feel like? Capture as many juicy details as you can until you have a strong sense of what it's like to feel the fearlessness that is inside their body. Experience how their body responds with joy, pleasure, or deep awe whenever they are going and doing the thing you are afraid of doing. The final step to this amazing exercise is where the real fearless work begins. The final step to this amazing exercise is where the real fearless work begins. In your real daily life, a few minutes after you wake up every morning, and just before you fall asleep every night, spend some time with your fearless friend. Do this for at least 21 days. It may be just a few minutes each morning and evening, yet be consistent with meeting your fearless friend right before you fall asleep. And right after you wake up, give them a hug. Tell them you love them. And feel what it's like to be together every day and night. Be consistent with meeting your fearless friend right before you fall asleep and right after you wake up. Give them a hug. Tell them you love them and feel what it's like to be together every day and night. You can plan to meet at some common place in your dreams at night and have an imaginary cup of tea together. You can hang out all night long if you want and do tons of fun, fearful things together. Be adventurous. Be creative. Get to know them intimately. You can even plan to meet at some common place in your dreams at night and have an imaginary cup of tea together. You can hang out all night long if you want and do tons of fun, fearful things together. Be adventurous. Be creative. Get to know them intimately. And feel what it's like to live in their heart and soul. Explore the actual realness of this newfound relationship until it feels as real as how your mother and father are for you. Every morning and evening, keep practicing and practicing and practicing, even if you fake it until you make it. Experience what their fearless mind feels like. You may even try breathing their fearless energy into your heart and seeing how it may change how your body feels. You make the time to create a real relationship with your fearless friend every day for 21 days. Something miraculous will occur naturally, organically. You will inherit all their fearless qualities and become free from any fear you may have had, so you can enjoy the journey. The moment you start seeing life as non-serious, a playfulness, all the burden on your heart disappears. All the fear of death, of life, of love, everything disappears. One starts living with a very light weight or almost no weight. So weightlessness one becomes, one can fly in the open sky. Osho. And I said this before, that some of us have learned to fly. Obviously, we don't show it for public view because we know it would happen. So logically and responsibly, those who have learned to fly don't do it in public. How many of us truly, right, being totally upfront with ourselves, trust? Do we trust? Right? Better yet, do you trust you? I mean, and implicitly so that you would, every morning, every night, during the course of the day, you have no doubts. You have no doubts about the life you want to live. You have no doubts about what you want to manifest. You have no doubts. Now, in every moment, we have the golden opportunity to choose trust over fear. Someone might say to you, how can you trust that person? They're despicable. They're creepy. They lie. We've caught them many times. How can you trust them? All right? When we can learn how to let go of this tight grip we have on this life, we immediately make a more intimate space for a closer relationship. All of our overly fearful, doubtful, and protective feelings instantly fade away when we are trusting that a divine intelligence is always present in our lives. A softness blossoms inside. And we regain our natural ability to relax fully into the bottle. The body. A softness blossoms inside. And we regain our natural ability to relax fully into our bodies and can start enjoying every detail about our present, past, and future. With deep, deep, deep trust, we can evolve as spiritual beings. And without it, we are lost. We can ascend to the point where we are trusting that every experience may be painful. With deep, 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 deep trust, we can evolve as spiritual beings, and without it, we are lost. We can ascend to the point where we are trusting that every experience that this life brings us is absolutely divine and perfect. Even if an experience may be painful, the greater deep eternal love is known and felt hidden inside. A trusting heart can quietly realize how a fear is our greatest teacher, always invoking a higher state of spiritual awareness into our futures, so that we stop pretending to be these small, powerless, ego-driven beings and start living that truly amazing life we so love. You will find that choosing trust over fear really comes down to worshiping our spiritual nature over our egos. It's about a deep devotion to our real selves, to the gods that we are, and being truly dedicated to filling up our precious time here on this earth with more relaxation, appreciation, and joy, instead of ego-driven anxieties, demand, and tension. With trust as our deepest guide, we can pierce through the ego's well of ignorance and perceive those life-challenging people and situations with the utmost patience and appreciation. Having no resistance to fear, we flow with the great spirit of life and know everything works itself out karmically in the very end. This level of trust instills such a fresh, enlightening perspective about this life, which instantly liberates the mind from all negative thinking. With trust in charge, when we hit an emotional wall of resistance or fear, we open up. When we hit an emotional wall of resistance or fear, we open up to it instead of shutting down even further. We feel into the wall, knowing there is always a bigger spiritual lesson behind it to be learned, and looking forward to finding out what it is. This approach is what allows for a deeper state of peace to make its home inside our heart and soul. Trust is such a powerful force. It can turn the most ordinary life instantly into an extremely rich spiritual adventure. With trust, we feel safe and connected with everyone we meet, and naturally are overflowing with an effervescent joy in all directions. We tend to respond to others with compassion instead of criticism, curiosity instead of impatience, and understanding instead of judgment. Every moment of this life becomes a new doorway that opens up to the highest and deepest aspects of our being. When we become more aware how to trust, right? How trust is a choice. We discover our power to either expand or connect our experience of this life in each moment. We no longer fear life, yet we embrace it all. As we gain more trusting momentum, we are able to remain only in the trust vibration for longer periods of time. We understand how to skyrocket our consciousness in a matter of minutes and eventually catapult our consciousness in a matter of minutes and catapult our lives into the fifth dimensional realm of the divine. We understand how to skyrocket our consciousness in a matter of minutes and eventually catapult our lives into the fifth dimensional realm of the divine. Trust is the magical gateway to our true unlimited nature as it transcends the ego and opens the door to our most enlightened state of consciousness. The self is like the screen, and the world is like the pictures on it. You can see the picture only so long as there is a screen. But when the seer himself becomes the screen, only the self remains, Ramana. If fear has been dominating your life, retreat. You can let it go. Forgive yourself. Free the others and release whatever has happened in your past. Yet you can move on. It is not worth it to hang on to any low vibration for another day. Trust that all the trauma you received in this life was given by God to wake you up from this deep, sleepy dream. We are all asleep, and everyone has been taught in some dramatic, perpetually self-wounding victim spin cycle taught to never trust in life, taught to never trust in ourselves or anyone else again. Just let it go. And remember, you are still lovable, worthy, and totally amazing exactly as you are. You committed, right, to all of this, a massive class in spiritual growth and radical enlightened maturity. Or you could say an experience. Whatever our past life circumstances might have been, we are always given the choice how we wish to respond to them now. Every time we choose trust over fear, everyone's heart opens a bit wider. We feel a more gentle, healing, heartwarming energy coming in. This warm, trusting heart is needed in this life. For the divine intelligent universe is always testing our level of awareness, checking in to see how awake we truly are. The test is always the same. How will we choose to respond? With more trust or more fear? How to add some playful creative sweetness and make a picture of a lemonade. To not value the gift of a human incarnation is like trading a diamond for a head of cabbage, Vedic sage. That means basically, life is the highest supreme value in the universes. It's good to know that the opposite of fear is not love. It is trust. The opposite of fear is not love, it is trust. Yet through living a life of trust, we naturally start falling in love with everything and everyone. With 100% trust, we become a loveaholic of this life, feeling naturally orgasmic about this precious opportunity we have to live. Feeling completely turned on by this chance to find our spiritual path and connection. This expansive feeling in the heart can become so divinely open that every breath feels as though we are making love with the divine. Are you ready to sign up for choosing a life devoted to always responding with trust? Yet, the spiritual power we receive from the trust vibration is simply awesome. Total trust effortlessly engulfs all kinds of egoic negativity. that may try to dominate any room. When a person who has 100% unshakable trust enters any community, it's so penetrating and contagious that everyone's ego eventually falls into either embarrassment or humility. When this group of people all simultaneously begin choosing trust over fear, you can feel this giddy, enlightening joy exponentially expanding through everyone's lives. The group energy becomes more relaxed and at ease with their life, their future, and everything as it is. To live a life flowing with trust, it's important to understand that fear is not a bad thing. It's just not something you want behind making any of your decisions. To live a life flowing with trust, it's important to understand that fear is not a bad thing. It's just not something that we really want behind making any decisions. If and when you make fear-based decisions in this life, which we all have, you will only create fear-based outcomes. If and when you try to avoid fear or attempt to delete it completely from your life, it will sneak back in when your guard is down. Fearful thoughts are there to wake you up, to invite in your biggest self, as they are simply small contracted truths about reality. It's like tiny grains of sand that can be so meaningless and inconsequential unless one of them gets stuck in your eye. Isn't it amazing how something so small can create such a huge pain? You ever had some stuck in your eye? You walk on sand, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's insignificant, right? Until you get one of those grains of sand stuck in your eye. And something so small can create such a huge pain. In walking the path of fear, we are living from our egos, because the ego is always feeling either superior or inferior. We become very controlling and judgmental. Living in ego, we become narrow-minded and completely unaware that we are abiding in a very small, limiting truth. We know we are living from ego because we feel constantly unsatisfied, perpetually searching for the next fantastic thing or new pleasure to escape into. The ego does not know what inner peace is. It is untrusting of new things, sticking only to what is comfortable, and often feels caught in needing to protect itself from our emotions and feelings. The ego is always new, right? The ego is always has always new ways to hide or shine, because it does not trust our inner light, right? Does not trust our inner light will always be there to guide us through the darkness, which it will, and is doing right now. When there is no desire whatsoever to dominate, no desire to cling, no desire to possess, the ego, I'll guarantee you this, starts evaporating. In order to always choose trust over fear, we need to take a more sensitive approach to feeling into ourselves, so we can see when we are in a state of trust, of fear. You can check in any moment of your day what is going on in the area around your heart and chest. If it feels expansive and light, you're in a state of trust. And if it's tight and heavy, you're holding on to fear. The general feeling you carry in your chest is your trust barometer to see what types of choices you're making every day. When we are living each day in our lives in fear, we tend to want to control everything and force our way through this life, right? When we are living each day of our lives in fear, we tend to want to control everything and force our way through this life. We tend to live in this hurry-it-up mode, rushing through each sacred experience, missing out on the small precious moments where it could have felt as heavenly angels were present. When trust does not become a natural response to this life, we become afraid to make decisions. We stop taking risks. We feel stuck in some weird emotional prison and perpetually unhappy for no reason at all. When fear is more important than trust, we feel like a failure in this life. Instead of simply removing the small speck of sand from our own eye, we spend our time trying to change ourselves, others, and the outer world. Once we discover how to trust in the experience of trust, a bigger truth takes over our lives. The walls of our fearful, boxed-in life slowly fall away. Now, if you need to liberate yourself from a fearful state, you must choose to welcome all your fears with 100% trust. And remember, everything is perfect exactly as it is. This universe never, ever, ever, ever makes mistakes. We simply have to accept every pile of manure as a message that we need more fertilizer. If your life or mind becomes too overwhelming or challenging, simply refocus on your awareness back on the biggest feeling of trust that you can remember. Dwell only on that trusting feeling for 1 to 2 hours. Give yourself permission to stop dwelling on what you fear. In a very short time, you can find the spiritual light start seeping back into your very soul again. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still just for this moment. Let's be curiously present to the energy that's moving your breath. Your body naturally lets the air flow in and out all day long. There's no effort needed to breathe. Now, imagine you have that same relationship with your ego. You know that demanding part who defends your point of view until you've proven yourself right? What if you could allow your deepest defensiveness to flow in and out of your body just like your breathing does? How would that feel? Stupendous. I already feel more relaxed getting closer to you. Who knew finding peace with everyone you love was so ridiculously easy? Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Friday, April 14th, 2023, at 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our Reverse Aging Health Call, and Saturday, April 15th, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times, and be in the deepest, deepest, deepest of eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on around you.